You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. We're going to be talking about England's ODI and T20 series in reverse order against India. A little preview, talking about squad news, who'll be playing, why England should just pick their test team, roll it on. Like go back to the early 2000s and same 11. They prove they can do it. That's what I'm going to say. I'm joined as usual by Ross and Max, which you knew if you were listening to the audio, but you might not have known if you've just tuned in on the YouTube. Max, your turn to, in 25 seconds, tell people the messages.
Yeah, head over to Twitter and Instagram at the Cricket Pod. We need you to catch up the followers that we lost after England's outrageous display in the fourth innings. So if you could please get over the defeat and come back, that'd be lovely. Thank you. And it's patreon.com/the Cricket Pod to support us directly, where we have exclusive, that's the word, exclusive shows, Discord, where we can chat all things baseball and other things, if you don't want us to be too proud of our English brilliance at the moment. And that's it at the moment, isn't it? That's all.
It is indeed.
That's all there is.
Yeah. Good work. Actually, you know what? That reminded me of something we didn't cover on the show that we should have talked about, English pride. Max, it triggered me. There were a bunch of England fans accused of being racist.
Oh, yes.
We'll probably do that before we talk about because that's quite a big omission from the show that we just put together. Ross, not an ideal summary or ideal topic to summarize, but so we get the facts roughly straight. Can you appraise people?
Yeah, I think at Edgbaston, they've been the fans, I think in the Holly stand, have been accused of calling some of the Indian fans racist terms. I'm not going to obviously repeat them on this. And there was accusations that when they raised it with some of the stewards, that the stewards just told them to sit down and didn't do anything about people who were being racist. So Edgbaston and Warwickshire Cricket Club have pretty much gone into it and said, look, we'll do a full investigation into it. And it looks like there's likely to be an ECB investigation into it as well. And when I was there on Saturday, there was no sign of that as far as I could tell. It was, and I'm not saying that wasn't happening, but it wasn't happening on Saturday from the area that we were in. And everyone's always great natured, and it's quite a surprise for cricket actually. Like there hasn't typically, you sit wherever you like, you're mingling with all kinds of different fans, and it's always typically really good natured. So this is quite a surprising turn of events, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I'm surprised, I suppose. In another sense, it is a disappointingly familiar story in modern Britain, at least. I don't really know what to say to some extent. Like we talked a lot in the last 12 months about racism in cricket. Going back to Siraj in Australia, and then obviously with the Azim Rafiq scandal at Yorkshire County Cricket Club. But I'd agree with you, Ross, to some extent that having played for a multicultural cricket club when I was young, and having been to India-England games, multiple India-England games, and England-Pakistan games, and so on. It hasn't been something that I've seen an awful lot of in the flesh, so to speak. So, I guess from that point of view, there is an element of surprise, but I'm also not shocked that it has happened, and I think that is quite sad. It in a sense, part of me thinks that I can't believe we've gone the whole of the last 18 months when this has been a much higher profile issue in cricket, and certainly in English cricket as well, without that being a problem, without that rearing its head as a problem within an English stadium. Max, the investigation is going to be ongoing. Presumably here we're looking at a situation where people will be handed lifetime bans.
I think so. And I think what they said was lifetime bans from all cricket venues in the country, which is entirely fair and warranted. And yeah, it's a crying shame that it's happened, and I don't get it. I don't understand what's wrong with people. But the important thing is that we stamp it out as much as we can, make people as aware as possible that it's not acceptable, and treat people who are racist with the contempt that they deserve, which is to basically say, well, we don't want you coming to
fuck off,
coming to cricket, fuck off, and stop being racist twats.
What really makes me sort of angry about this is why have these let's call them what they are. Why are these cunts not
the children family cricket show? There's no other word for it. You're right.
What's not getting through? Like, why are you going to the best sporting event that's going to happen in England this summer? Like England v India at Edgbaston. England playing amazing cricket. India team of the decade, team of the generation. A series on the line. Kohli, Root, Bairstow, Bumrah, all of it. Why are you turning up at that? And then abusing people, abusing children, basically. I mean, is what I've understood is what's going on. Like, why? What is your? Why do you think that in the first place? I mean, that's a whole thing you have to unpack. But like, why in that format when you've seen that everyone's having a good time and you're like, no, this I need to get my idiot opinion across here and chant some abuse at kids to make myself feel good.
What annoys me even more is that people didn't stand up and say, no, you can't be doing that, mate, and step in, right? And is the people have somehow got this level of confidence to bring it up. And I realise that starting confrontation, especially in cricket grounds and in public or anywhere, is a dangerous proposition. But you have to, if you see it, you have to change.
If you want people to be aware that it's wrong, because for some reason apparently they're not aware that you can't do these things, it does need a level of calling out and being an ally and all the rest of it. And supposedly the reason the stewards didn't act on it was because they said they couldn't pinpoint who exactly it was, and that they said they would monitor it. And there were people there who obviously did know.
Yeah, exactly.
Who it was.
I mean, there are photos going around on Twitter of like, that's the guy.
Yeah. So that needs to happen at the time, and people need to. You're absolutely right, Ross. People need to sort of stand up more, and it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but you have to do it to have that conversation.
One of the best things about going to cricket is the fact that you can go and sit with people. I don't want it to end up being home away fans. It becomes rivalry. It becomes like that. That is not cricket. And the people who are going to potentially ruin this for everybody else should just, as we told, just fuck off. They're not welcome at all. Warwickshire and Edgbaston, when you're at the ground, are nearly every single break time that there was, and there was plenty on Saturday because of the rain. They were saying like discrimination is not welcome here. You want no tolerance policy, etc. And I think if you say that and you're announcing that, you've got to back it up, right? And the people should be shamed about it, and they should be stamped out as quickly as possible. And yes, an awful day for cricket, which is also a great day for cricket, and it's a real shame.
Yeah, I mean, that overshadows to some extent, doesn't it? There shouldn't be a story, an extremely negative story out about the game, which we all love, on the same day as England's greatest ever chase in Test cricket. But there shouldn't be a more important story as well. I mean, that's the reality, is that there's something more important happened. Anyway, let's move on to talk about the ODI series, the T20 series. Let's do the T20 series first. 3 matches starting on Thursday night, and this double header on Saturday and Sunday. Are they on the free to air as well? Is this the time in the year when the BBC get a couple of T20s? I think it might be. I think the Sunday game might be on free to air TV when we're playing. England have gone well. England lost Owen Morgan. You guys did a show on that. It was very good. So it's the start of the Butler era. There's a degree of experimentation in the side, isn't there, Ross?
Weird experimentation. They've picked a 34-year-old.
and it wasn't Benny Howe.
It wasn't Benny Howe. Richard Gleeson's come into the side. And yeah, the pace there is, it was almost out of contract of where he was playing as well. So this has been a real turnaround in terms of his career. And yeah, you're kind of looking at that lineup going, right, well, what are we actually trying to set up for the T20 tournament come October? And you're right, Jack, that yeah, Josh Butler's taking over on this one. The side missing a couple of players, but it still looks relatively strong, I think. And it'd be interesting to see how Matt Parkinson goes in this lineup. Is Matt Parkinson really the best T20 spinner that we need or that we have available? I don't know is the answer. But with Adil Rashid on his harsh pilgrimage, they're giving him an opportunity. So we'll see if he takes it.
At least he's getting an opportunity this time. Maybe they might even pick him.
They've also kept Chris Jordan around, presumably for moral support.
Well, he scored 70 off 30 the other day in the blast.
I'm looking at this 14 or whatever it is now, and I have to say, fellas, that I am slightly underwhelmed with the players on show. There are some very good ones in there. I mean, obviously you've got Livingston and you've got Sam Curran's back in, Butler, Moeen Ali, Jason Roy. There's also a few players that I think if they're lucky to be there, but I'm not absolutely sold on. You talked about Gleeson there. We don't know if he'll play, but you know, beyond that, Chris Jordan, do we need another look? Even Tyrone Mills to some extent, you know, coming off a pretty poor IPL and at times at the World Cup wasn't fantastic. Are there any other options, Max? You're the T20 county aficionado.
Yeah, well,
have we missed out here from a bowling point of view, particularly? I mean, the batting's quite good, but bowling, I'm not, you know, all in on this bowling unit.
No, I think obviously there's guys missing, aren't there? Mark Wood, for example, Jofra Archer, we all know about. So that was but I mean, Richard Gleeson, I think at the time that he was picked was the leading wicket taker in the blast this year. So, you know, on form, it's a reasonable option to go with. There's guys who've done it for a bit longer over the last few years in the blast who maybe could have been an option. But like you say, I think it's unlikely that he'll play. I mean, Tyrone Mills, I think, is probably with a look to the actual World Cup and see if he can turn his performances around. Reece Topley has been immense for Surrey and pretty good for England as well when he's played. And with him getting a run of fitness, I think he's well worthy of his inclusion. I like David Willey. Having two left armers, well, three left armers if you include Sam Curran, might be a little one-sided.
There's four left armers, isn't there? Mills, Willey, Topley.
Yes, well, Mills Curran as well. Yeah, so we're going heavy on the left armers. So that's one interesting route to have gone down. So it does seem a little bit of a weird balance for me. Although Sam Curran with the bat has also been incredible for Surrey in the blast. He's sort of really kicked on this year as with the bat. So nice for him to be back as well after his injury. So I mean, I don't have too much of an issue with those on that front. But yeah, Chris, I think we can maybe park Chris Jordan now. But I mean, he's popular, isn't he? He's popular in the T20 frame.
Yeah, India on the other side of things, they're coming off a 2-match T20 series against Ireland. They won both of those games, although they did nearly lose one. They nearly let Ireland chase 225.
Was it 4 runs in the end? They won by.
It was 4 runs. The last ball of the game needed to go to 6, I think, for Ireland to win. I think it was 7 off 2 balls, and Ireland, couldn't quite pull it off. Although the two guys at the end they were going to Mark-Adair 23 off 12 and Dockrell 34 off 16. So actually 7 off 2 or 7 off 3 or whatever it was, 8 off 3. That's where I was like, it's really in front of me. 8 off 3, 8 off 3 with players playing like that. You think you've got a pretty chance here? Got a pretty decent chance. Narrowly lost out. I think it'll be interesting to see who England play. Sanju Samson was opening the batting for India in those matches. We saw Deepak Huda get a century. Presumably Rohit's going to come back in though, and kind
come
of
back in just
things.
Yeah, so they've got two squads, haven't
weird
they?
team. Yeah,
they've broken it down, right? So they've got a squad for the first T20I, and they've got a squad for the second and third ODI, which is just bonkers, really. But yeah, you have to get.
Can you explain why they've done this?
Because to get Virat Kohli back in for the second and third ODI, I shit you not. Genuinely, yeah. So Bumrah's coming back in, Pant's coming back in, I think, along with Virat Kohli.
Okay. So, yeah, I did. Okay, right. That makes sense because my squad list, the India squad list I've got down, it has got some omissions on it, and I was going to talk about that, but you've covered that point well. Yeah.
Yeah, I just know what I'm talking about. When it comes to Indian cricket, that's what I'm here for. If you look at that side, I think there's some exciting players in there, right? Arshdeep Singh's included, Umran Malik is included. Arshdeep is then dropped for the second and third ODI, third T20 team, which is baffling because I think he's probably one of their better options potentially.
Back in for the ODIs then.
Well, but if he plays well.
Yeah, and this is the bit, right? I don't understand what they're trying to do here, and especially when you've got the World Cup to look forward to. They've got some known quantities, right? And you do want to put your best team out to win. Chahal's in there, Akshar Patel, Bishnoi. So who are they going to play out of those ones? Like depending on what pitch is there, they'll probably play Chahal and Akshar, maybe. I'm not sure they'll give Bishnoi the kind of run out. Yeah. And then choice between Bhuvi, Harshal Patel, Avesh Khan, Arshdeep Singh, and Umran Malik. If I'm those guys, I'm going right. Arshdeep Singh is just an unbelievable IPL. Like he was absolutely mint. Harshal Patel, one of the best T20 bowlers in the world right now. Umran Malik is a bit of an unknown quantity traveling, right? He's good in India. Is he going to travel well? Don't know. There's big questions they could use this series to answer. And again, I feel like India are going to miss a trick and play the wrong 11 out of that squad.
And it's such a good squad as well. Such an exciting squad.
Their white ball talent is unbelievable.
Who do you think is going to win? Let's ask that question. That's the key one, Max.
I think India will win 2-1. I think England's batting will see them through in a game, but I think India will win this series. Just with sort of the changes that are made, the changes in England's side, most notably with the bowling, perhaps the lack of Adil Rashid could be a big factor. And I just looking at those names, they just, again, I guess, like you say, Ross, it's somewhat dependent on India picking the right side. But if they do pick pretty much the right side, they'll be so difficult to take down.
Yeah, I think that bowling is going to be a problem. I think it's pretty one-dimensional. I mean, if you're looking at that, the questions are like, who are your power play bowlers? Who are your death bowlers? Well, we can assume David Willey's going to be one of the power play bowlers. Are we doing Chris Jordan at the death again? Jordan and Mills?
Mills will be a death bowler, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's as fantastic. I don't think that's particularly fantastic at all, to be perfectly honest. Parkinson, Ross, I think you raised an interesting point about whether Parkinson is the next best leg spinner in T20 cricket. I think he probably should be closer to the test team or should have played a test match by now. But there's probably an argument that you play someone like Danny Briggs or someone like that.
Or who's that? Yeah. Who's the kid who bowls those ridiculous googlies?
No, you've got options like Jake Lintott and stuff like that who've proved themselves in T20 cricket, right? And it would be like, this was, again, the opportunity. And you got people in the Lions squad. The people in the Lions squad. Yeah.
Lintott's the second top wicket taker of English bowlers in the Blast this year. Gleeson and Lintott. They're the top two.
Well, I mean, I think that's if you wanted someone who was a wicket taker, then you go Lintott. If you want a control bowler, then go for Danny Briggs or Callum Parkinson would have maybe been a better shout, I think. But we'll see what happens. I mean, if England ODI, England white ball cricket's always pretty good fun. I think when you see decisions and squads released like this, I get the impression that they're actually further away in T20 cricket than they sometimes project they are when it comes to their thinking around the game, like particularly on the bowling side. I'm really curious.
Or they're just really not that bothered.
What are the metrics that they're turning to when they pick Chris Jordan? What is it that is there? And like
he's a good fielder.
Every left armour in the country. Like, what is that?
Hey, well, damn it, Milan's still in there, so we've still got our anchor. Don't you worry.
It's a little bit like with all those left-handers. It's like if England football team going to the World Cup later in the year. It's like if England had 4 really good goalkeepers and they just took all 4 goalkeepers, even though they only needed 3 or 2 or whatever the squad limit is. It's just like,
hey, you never know.
We've got 5 world-class goalkeepers, so we're gonna bring of our 21-man squad. 5 of them are gonna be in nets, and we'll rotate through the.
And I think you can kind of say that it's kind of similar for the India team to a certain extent around who they're picking. Like, and actually in their side, like, do they really need to have Shreyas Iyer and Virat Kohli coming back into that second and third T20I team? No, they don't. They give. They dropped Samson, for fuck's sake. Like, Samson is the most selfless player. Play him. Play Suryakumar Yadav as your anchor in that kind of position. If you have to play Rohit Sharma because he's a captain, you can do that. But there's so many different options in that lineup, and I just think again they are going on reputation rather than actually. Like the capability that they've got around trying to win those T20 teams. I think England will beat India 2-1. So Max has gone 2-1. Yeah, Max has gone India 2-1. I've gone England 2-1.
Just go for some rain, Jack.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that India will win as well. I just think the bowling's so confusing. Maybe England might just be like wanting to have a look at some guys. I don't know, but it seems odd.
Yeah, maybe Richie Gleeson will play.
I don't understand.
Maybe it's his World Cup audition.
It could be, yeah. I don't understand why. Maybe that is what they're going to do. Let's be optimistic from an England point of view and say that's could be it. We know that Wood and Adil Rashid are basically nailed on as 2 of the bowlers when it gets to the World Cup.
Yep.
So maybe they just want to know who the rest are. And probably Curran will play, and probably Moeen will be in the squad or in the 11 as well. So there you've got 12 overs. So I need 8 overs of someone else. If Mills can find a bit of form, then the bowling attack suddenly starts to look quite good. But maybe Gleeson is the answer. Should we wrap up, boys?
Yep. It'd be a really good. Yeah, I think it'd be a really good couple of games. And again, England versus India is always fantastic. Always, regardless of what format it's in, it is always fantastic. And I think, these games are going to be no different.
Cool. All right then, fellas. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.